Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome to Reaction Time. Reaction Time. We're here at Star Wars Day. May the 4th be with all of you on this fine evening. You may have noticed, as Steven pointed out right before we got started, that I actually have the ceiling light on in my office for once. And it's important because I have to wear this 2022 LCS Spring Champions t-shirt here on this here podcast.
We've been had.
Just real quick, gotta flex. Real quick.
I was not expecting the hoodie,
unveil.
the hoodie unveiling. Yeah. Oh my gosh. Live evil. Yeah.
Witness our rise. Oh my
Hashtag
god.
live evil. We out here. So I'm glad I snuck that up on you guys. I was ready for that.
Ugh. The
Just to
actual
rub
audacity.
it in just that little bit more. Anyway, we're going to talk about Evil Geniuses because they're in an international tournament coming up this week.
Yes, they are.
So, with the primary focus of this episode here of Reaction Time is we're going to take a look at the MSI groups, which will take place next week. The first group stage of the two group stages of the tournament, which begins in
Next Tuesday.
It begins in a week, basically. Like, the first games are Tuesday early morning, I want to say.
3
next week, so I
a.m.
guess in 5 days. 5.5 days, I guess. Because it's in Korea, so it's early as hell in the morning. It's, for those of us who watch the LCK time slots on a regular basis, it's great. For the rest of you, get wrecked.
I think I can catch the EG game. The first one is at 6 a.m. That one I might be able to muster.
Which, ironically, I'm only going to be able to watch like half of because I go to work at 6:30. Like, I can watch the ones before that, but so we're out here with this. So there are 11 teams in this tournament, one from each region except for the CIS for obvious reasons that we don't need to go into. There's been some delights in other esports with that lately that we're not going to talk about on this podcast. But yeah, there are reasons that the LCL teams aren't here and aren't doing stuff right now. So that's why there's an uneven number of teams in the group. So there are 2 groups of 4 and 1 group of 3. We're going to get to the group of 3 last because it's the one we know the team's the best in. For reasons.
Balancing issues.
So we're going to just go straight down ABC. If I recall correctly, it's the format is the top 2 in each group get out of groups and go to the second group stage, and then top 4 out of the group of 6, that is the second group stage, will go to the knockout round, which is a single bracket semifinals into finals. So that's the format of the tournament. So 6 of these 11 teams are going to go on and play more games in this tournament. And each of these groups, I believe, has a double round robin. So it's going to be 4 games in the NA group and 6 in the other groups to determine who's going on. So those all take place between Tuesday and Sunday of next week. So it's 6 days of games in this first stage, which we will be a little teensy bit into by the next time we record. There will be 2 days worth of games for us to take a look at, including the first 3 games from EG and first 2 from G2. So we'll have a little bit of a base of knowledge, but we'll have a lot more to look at moving forward. So with that said, let's go ahead and take a look at Group A. So Group A features the overwhelming favorite to get out of this group in so many different ways in T1 from the LCK. Some people would, without very much argument, say that this is probably the best team in the world going into this tournament. They just finished a regular season in the LCK almost without blemish, completely without blemish in the regular season, almost without blemish in the playoffs, and were just absurdly dominant. And they are up against 3 minor regions functionally in this group. So you have Detonation Focus Me from the LJL, you have Team A's from the LLA, and you have Saigon Buffalo from the VCS, I want to say. Now, the note with Saigon Buffalo that I think is important to emphasize is in the is it the VCS? I forget. I think it's the VCS.
Yeah, VCS.
The Saigon Buffalo actually lost the final. However, the winner of the VCS, which I believe was GAM, if I remember right, by winning the VCS, they are Vietnam's representative to the Asian Games, which are happening directly after MSI and are very important for the countries involved in the Asian Games. There's been a lot of talk about what the Korean team for the Asian Games is going to be. It sounds like it's going to mostly just be this T1 roster that we see at this tournament. So the VCS and Vietnam eSports chose to prioritize that over this tournament and is sending their second place team to MSI instead of sending their champion. So that's why, like, you may have seen the results in the VCS where Saigon Buffalo lost in 3-2 in the final of their tournament, but they are the MSI representative from Vietnam. So that's why they're there. That's an important thing to understand. So with that said, I wish I had looked up odds for this, because I'd love to see what you'd have to spend to get $1 on T1 progressing out of this group. Like 1 to 100, 1 to 1,000 kind of thing. Like, it shouldn't be close. Period.
So who's number 2 then?
Yeah, like that's the real question with this group. Is T1's getting out of this group probably in first, unless something ridiculous happens. Eric, who do you like for number 2?
I think it might be DFM. Normally, I'd pick the Vietnamese team. It is the second place Vietnamese team, though, and this DFM still is strong. They still have Evi and Udapon and Steel from their roster that made it out of play-ins at Worlds, and they have an actual support now. So even though they don't have Arya and mid, like, this is still a real team. So, like, I think their odds are decent for managing to get that second spot. A's is right out.
Yeah.
Well, and like, not that there's much to defend. The LLA teams have never historically done that well to begin with at Worlds, and A's upset to get here. I think they finished 3rd or 4th in the regular season in the LLA, so they are probably going to have a pretty bad time in this group, because we've seen historically, I have not watched much of the VCS, but VCS teams have performed extraordinarily well on the world stage. In the past, we haven't got to see them in an international tournament in 2 years because of the COVID situation in Vietnam. So I'm very interested to see how Saigon does. If I was going to pick a team on just vibes alone, I'm going to pick the VCS team to finish second, because the pedigree that has been shown in the past by teams out of that region, I think, is important to recognize.
I think if anyone's going to take a game off of T1, though, it would be Detonation, though, just for memes. But it's not going to happen.
I'd go with the Vietnam team, actually.
Yeah? Okay.
Because the reason is that DFM is actually, like, a very controlled team. They're very, like, I don't want to say professional, but they approach the game in kind of that same mindset that the teams in the LCK or, like, the LCS do. And because of that, like, expecting them to get an upset win seems surprising to me, whereas the teams from Vietnam are typically more like LPL teams, where it's all-out aggression early game. It's fights before objectives as opposed to just at objectives, and that can really make a difference. So, like, if we're, like, putting money on an upset here, it would be for the Buffaloes.
Well, and Vietnamese, the players we have most recognized in Vietnamese teams in the past have all been junglers.
Yeah.
Like, let's just acknowledge that. From Levi and
SOFM.
Like, it's always been jungler-centric, early game focused, just total domination from that side of the game. That has been what has led these teams to victory.
Except like the old Saigon team where they had like a Shaco one trick. We don't need to talk about them though.
Those are different times.
Yeah.
So like that's historically that is what I would expect to see here. I haven't watched any VODs. I know nothing actually about this team, but that's historically what the style of play that has come out of the VCS and its prior iterations has been. And I don't think that's likely to work against T1. If I was betting, I would bet on T1 6-0ing this comfortably. I'll be much more interested to see them next week, put it that way, when they might get pushed. But we'll have to see. This group just, it feels like one of those groups at Worlds where there's a number one and then some other stuff. So I will be interested to see if A's can surprise us. They don't have any players. I think Aloned, maybe, who's their mid laner, has a little bit of international experience. I don't remember what teams he's played on before, but other than that, it's a bunch of players playing on the international stage for the first time, like completely out of the blue. And it just doesn't seem like it's likely to go well. Now, the one last question I ask, speaking of T1 dominance before this group, place your bets now. What is the shortest game time that is going to happen in this group? Keeping in mind, I think the shortest historical game times in professional games of League of Legends are between 17 and 18 minutes, typically. So, in 6 games against this opposition, what do you think the shortest game time in this group is going to be?
22.
I was going to be lame and say 23, but now you said 22, so I have to think about it. No, I'll go with the at 20.
20.
I'll go with
Nice.
the at 20. Yeah.
And I will take 19.
Oh, there we go.
I will take 19. I think we'll have one under 20.
There you go.
We'll have to see. I mean, like, it's not that hard to finish a game in 22 or 23 minutes. Just look at the NA finals.
Why are you so rude? We're so mean to us. Come on.
P1's general team comp style, though, usually involves like a 23. What I would expect is like a 23-minute scheduled win. So, like, the question is, like, how much do they try and style actively on these teams, and how much is it just business as usual? You know, that'll be the question. What does Faker play? You know, let's see what champions Faker.
Zeus and Owner like to style on people. It's top lane where you're looking if you're looking at this from T1.
Mm-hmm.
So, I don't have much deep analysis about this group. I'm not going to lie. I think it's the least interesting of the 3 groups.
Yeah.
It's also the least balanced of the groups, to be honest. I wish stuff had been shuffled around a little bit, but it is what it is. So speaking
it's 3 of the medium to lower tier other region teams too with T1. This isn't like this next group we're going to talk about.
Group B, Group B is fascinating to me because you have Royal, LPL champions once again, reigning MSI champions, who are still Royal. Like,
anything can happen.
They are what they are, and they have a little bit more ability to get pushed than you might expect from some other teams here. And with them, you have PSG Talon of previous significant Worlds experience in the PCS, who have been the dominant team from the PCS now for a couple of years running, and did have a roster swap with Doggo going to the LPL.
And River going to
BLG.
And River going to NA.
Yep. So they have new talent from what they had at Worlds last year, but still won their region. So that's a notable team. And then you have the Istanbul Fastpay Wildcats from the TCL, who, as I recall, who were the number 1 team in the TCL the regular season, who swept through playoffs 3-0-3-0 in the upper bracket, and come from a region that continues to have talent come out of it. one
And
way
it's a
or
familiar
another, because
roster.
you look around at the number of Turkish players that are various places, and there's talent to be found there. You also have, I mean, this team played at Worlds last year, if I recall correctly. I think without the Fastpay sponsorship, but that's about it.
No, it was there.
Yeah, it was.
Was it there?
Yeah. Yep.
And
it's
like,
exact same players.
Is it the same roster? Yeah. Like,
Except
Yeah.
for the mid laner, I thought is new.
No, it's still Saren.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Like Saren's been around.
so like dominant in their region, internationally experienced roster from the TCL. And then you have Red Canids Kalunga from the CB which my favorite thing about this is we have two JoJos at the tournament on accident because Red's support is named JoJo. But as far as CB teams go, Red Canids has been one that's played a lot together and has worked their way up through CB but doesn't have as many experienced international players compared to some of the more classic, like, this isn't a pain with BRTT of years past or anything like that. But it's still, like, not exactly a pushover a team, and it's been said a lot that the CB is a region waiting to find a team to really come through it. Red had a big run out of the losers bracket to get into the tournament, finished third in the regular season. And so they're not the best team, but the top portion of the CB table is they had 7 teams finish above 500 in the league in CB So like very, very, very competitive league. So I will be very interested to see how Red Canids play in this group. They probably come in as the lowest seed, and will be expected to finish 4th. However, even with them, I'm interested in what they can do in this group. So, Eric, what are your first impressions about who's going to come out of this group?
Well, I definitely think Royal's making it out, even with the fact that they're remote and other things. Speaking of players who like to style on people, you mentioned Zeus and Owner in the last series. Bin is in this team now. And Bin really likes playing Jax and Gangplank and Aurelia and styling on people. And there's something about top laners from the LPL and playing Aurelia where you just don't want to see that. And I have a feeling that Hanabi keeps making it to these tournaments, and Hanabi has good map sense and knows how to play the map, but in my opinion, has never been that good. So like it's this really awkward paradigm here where we have two very, very known quantities for these other teams, where Fastpay is the exact same, and we know what we're going to expect from them. And PSG Talon, like, it's not Doggo, but it is Unified. Unified, who played with them when the year before, when they had the subs for Worlds, so it's still Unified, it's still Kaiwing, it's still Hanabi, and they have like a new mid jungle with Bay and whoever this other the new jungle is, but like it's gonna be the exact same stuff. And so I just feel that they're very well known. So I'm actually hoping it's more Red Canids really showing up and taking this and getting the second spot out of this group, because the other two are just so boring.
I think that's disrespectful to the
Yeah, I was about to say that my boys at Fastpay are going to be taking that second really easy, no question.
See, and like every time, maybe I've just been let down by TCL in these like events too many times, where it's just like their fundamentals are so strong, they look like they know what they're doing, and then they just get beat by hands like every single time.
Well, and it's a problem with both of these other regions. Like, if we talk regionally rather than about specific teams, both the TCL and the CB have a reputation in international tournaments of not performing as well as they are expected to perform. Worlds, MSI, every time. There hasn't been a Brazilian team that's really performed up to any kind of real expectations since I was like Kaboom in 20. What even year was that? 2014, 2015?
23rd?
2014, I'm pretty sure.
I think it was
One-
14. It's been a
it's-
really long time.
One Samsung White one. This one's for Kaboom, yeah. And like didn't Lep also go 16, or is that like the tournament after that?
I think
that was Lep.
2015.
Okay, because like Lep was on that team too. I'm pretty sure. It's yeah, it's not thrilling. But yeah, I'm hoping on Red Canids. I like Teton a lot. I think he's really good. So I'm pumped for this team.
And Grevthar is a mid laner to keep an eye on.
By Grebthar's hammer,
Basically.
will be avenged. Yeah.
Okay.
Sorry, I had to make my Galaxy quest.
You
Right.
did it.
Yes.
So I would lean favorites in this group as well, just because I think even a PSG Talon roster that we have, like it's basically a third different iteration of this roster on the international stage, but at the same time, as Eric pointed out, there's a lot of this roster that has pretty significant international experience at this point, as far as like World's playoff stage, which is hard to replicate. So I would be surprised to see them not do well and get out of this group. I think there's a chance that they could walk in and be like, hey, we're going to take a game off of Royal. I wouldn't pick them in a best of 5 over Royal, but in one best of 1 in a group stage, it wouldn't be that surprising to me for them to pull something out and surprise them. So, like, I'd feel pretty good about picking Royal and PSG to get out of the group. I hope it is more interesting than that, but it feels like the chalk is pretty strong in this group.
Except for it's actually the cats.
The Cats?
Yeah, it's actually the cats.
Are you just in because their top laner's name is Starscream?
Yes. Starscream and
Farfetch'd
and Furret.
Barrett. Yeah.
Holy Phoenix. Like,
Well,
come on.
and like again, if we're talking international experience, Holy Phoenix has a lot of international experience at this point. He's been around a long time.
It's their time to shine. Like, this is the moment.
I hope you're right.
But also Starscream.
Anyway,
So when you said the cats are making it out, you're just referring to the Wildcats. You're not referring to the Wildcats and the Canids, right? That's
that
your.
would be insane. That would
Okay.
be the dankest timeline, which we could be on given everything else.
All right. So each of us is pushing for a team to make it out of this group with RNG.
Essentially.
that's where we're at. Anyway, should we talk about the boys?
Yeah, order.
Each iterate. Well, I mean, they're if the boys
The homies.
to give it the Australian parlance, the boys. So, EG and G2 should get out of this group pretty comfortably. Are they gonna fuck it up?
That would be hilarious. Biopanther just collapse impact for no reason.
Just to remind you, I talked about this a week or two ago when this finished. Order finished 5th in the regular season in the LCO.
Where did EG
4th
finish?
or 5th? 4th in the regular season in the LCO.
This is battle of the fourth
good.
place teams. Is that what this is?
Yeah, they all finished 4th in their respective regular seasons, and went on big old lower bracket runs. All 3 of them. Like,
It's a good narrative, anyway.
yeah.
Yeah, so not the best teams from each region is what you're saying. If to quote you from earlier about
Boy, I
lower
don't
bracket
know.
runs.
I don't know.
Oh no, that's what you said. Oh no.
E2's definitely the best team from LEC, so I'm gonna have to stop you right there.
Man, like, I'd listen if you'd taken a game off of them, but boy,
Beware, those salt mines run deep.
oh man, like, I will hear your arguments if you are arguing that FlyQuest is the best team in NA.
I mean,
Nothing else.
we're talking about 4th, 5th, lower bracket runners Could have been anyone.
Only team to take a game off of EG in their last 4 best of fives was FlyQuest, sir. FlyQuest.
So why are you dogging on the boys?
I'm not
I
talking.
like you hyping up FlyQuest. You know, JoJo and Takui need more respect.
I'm just like,
Or not JoJo.
I'm
Jose
just saying,
Dioto.
you better not be talking about any of these other anime teams. So I do think, like, to stop beating around the bush, I'm very glad that Order made the bracket run to get here. The LCO team, for reasons that we have gone into long and loudly across many sessions of this podcast, the LCO is operating at such a strategical disadvantage to basically any other major region because the number of their best players that play in the LCS is a lot, including several of them that are currently out of contract. Like, it is the disadvantage that they are playing at is ridiculous. So then, for a lower bracket team to go on a run and get out of the LCO is a great story. They're going to go into this group as tremendous underdogs, no matter whether or not EG and G2 are or are not the best teams from the LCS and LEC. And it would have been the same story no matter what group they would have been, and they should be the worst team at this tournament.
So with the double round robin in the 3, so
what you're saying is they're going to take a game off of both G2 and EG, and they'll be
we'll
hard
go to a full
sweating.
tiebreaker. Just
Yeah.
reset it.
They'll be hard sweating. Yeah.
No, it'll just go 2-2 each way through the groups, and we'll have to do the whole thing again.
that would be great.
Well, it's best they play each team twice. Yeah. So they'll take a game off of each of them, and then they'll have to play a tiebreaker against EG to make it out of the group. That's
That's
that'll be where we're at. Just be ready, you know. You just have to set expectations appropriately.
Sorry.
But no, it's very unlikely.
I can't wait for that first. Like they pick up that first game and everybody's like,
JoJo has like the special where he just like walks forward for no reason in mid lane and just gets like popped at like 40 minutes.
What's the order of the games? Wait, so the first game is ordered
Sorry,
in G2.
they're actually... This is 8 games in this group.
Really? That's a lot.
How you figure?
If I'm counting this right. So it's... Like, I'm just counting the EG games. So EG plays G2 on Tuesday. EG plays both G2 and Order on Wednesday. EG plays Order on Thursday.
Oh, they're doing. I thought they were doing 3 rounds for this group, so they play each team 3 times. I thought that's what they said they were going to do. I could be wrong though.
I think it's 4.
Oh wow,
Jeez,
I think it's 4.
that's a lot of games.
that's a lot of scrimmaging.
If we're just talking EG G2, there's 1 on Tuesday, 1 on Wednesday, and 2 on Saturday. So it's 4.
Gross.
That's
a lot of tournament prep against G2. In some ways, EG and G2 are going to have the best valid stage experience from the first round of this tournament. Yet another advantage going to NA in this tournament structure.
Yeah.
You get to play on Korean solo queue. You get to play on 35 ping right in that sweet spot. And you get to play against G2 on stage 4 times. Perfect.
how are you gonna fumble this?
You're gonna lose to G2 4 times. That's how they're gonna.
No.
I like.
Not exaggerating.
Lose to G2 4 times. They lose once to Order, and
Okay,
Order
look,
actually
though.
beats like G2
Look,
like
though.
3 times. Look,
Though,
hold on.
Caps JoJo is hype as hell.
Caps JoJo is
4
hype as
games
hell.
of Caps JoJo is hype as hell. Honestly, like real
Yeah.
talk. That's gonna be awesome to watch. And is huge. Like JoJo has successfully gone and clapped every other mid laner in it. So like he wants to go talk all this shit to Faker and Chovy and all these people. 4 games on stage against Caps is a great way to establish a reputation internationally.
This is also going to be 4 games of Inspired versus versus Yankos, which is like top 2 EU junglers, period, playing each other on stage. And like this is also like a very in playoffs, their head-to-head is fascinating with how their series have played out. And this is each of them on good teams in good form going into this tournament, which is a first. Because normally, in the past, since Inspired's been playing, G2's been wishy-washy. And this is not a wishy-washy G2. So this is going to be sick. Like, those games should be hype as hell.
Well, and like, the other piece of this is I like EG's bot lane over G2's. Period.
Maybe if they stop dying before 6 minutes, I'll agree with you.
Don't care. Doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter.
Clearly.
Like, I trust Danny in this. By the way, first player to hit Masters on their Korean solo queue account. Who was it? It was Danny.
Yep. Like, Danny and Vulcan are great late game. And so it's really interesting in some ways, too, because, like, Flackid's new. So we've got Danny versus Flackid. And then, but then, like, Targamas is, like, the rookie or rookie-adjacent support player on this G2 roster with Flackid. So it's like a full rookie bot lane going up against Vulcan here. So, like, Vulcan has to look good.
And then, like, the other interesting part of the matchup is you talked about Yankos and Inspired, who have played a decent number of games against each other over the years. Broken Blade and Impact have played a few games against each other over the years.
Mm-hmm.
So that's
in tournament finals, yeah.
Tournament finals. So I like there's an interesting little bit of history there too. So I don't know, like I am very excited now that we've looked at the schedule and figured out we get 4 games of this in group stage. Like I don't think it really matters how it goes. If they take care of enough of their business, both of them against Order, to get out of this group, fine. It's not like it doesn't matter. It's not like you're playing for seeding. You're just playing to get to the group stage. It does not matter if they finish second.
At 4 games, it seems impossible to me that one of them fails. Like,
right,
if it was just like single, if it was like double round robin, I could see like them having to get into a tiebreaker with Order based off of some shenanigans. But this is too many games. There's no way.
Yep, I agree.
Not nearly as fun.
So then you have basically chalk. Like we've predicted chalk with the one exception of who gets second in Group A to go to the big groups, which is T1, Royal, PS. If you take me, PSG, G2.
You're
EG.
chalk. That is true.
Like they're the chalk answer. G2, EG, and then whoever finishes second in Group A as the 6 teams into the next stage of the bracket, which feels about right. So when you get to the next stage of the bracket, like, do you assume that the LPL and the LCK teams will be the top 2? Probably. And then it's how good do G2 and EG stack up to whoever finished second in Group A and PSG, probably. Which is a fascinating point to be at. And it's, again, like, by the time these group stages done, because it should be another double round robin in the second stage
There's
of the group.
a lot of gameplay.
If EG and G2 get out, they're going to have played 6 games on stage against each other by the time this is all said and done. Which is a tremendous advantage for EG no matter what happens going back to NA. For a roster that has impact with international experience and, like, nothing else. This is huge for their development.
Vulcan's been at Worlds.
Yeah.
So, but yeah.
But for their, like, core of their roster, right?
Yeah.
It is a huge opportunity.
Just getting to go to Korea and practice is pretty bonkers right now, too. And, like, ping nerf on everyone else.
Like, I'm really curious to see how T1 performs. It's kind of nice that they do get the 6 gimme games before we go into the actual, like, group stage, because maybe that's what they take to figure out how to play on 35 ping. Because, like, if we hopped straight into meaningful games with T1 where they were playing against RNG or they were playing against G2 and they're playing on ping for the first time in their lives, like, that would suck. I would like really hate that. So there's like a whole lot of caveats of this tournament in general where it's super weird, but like hopefully the 6 gimme games they get beforehand will give them a bit of a buffer to figure things out before they have to like play real teams.
Similarly for Royal, I think it's going to be interesting to see how they do on their 6 warm-up games playing remotely, because it's not that teams aren't used to that by this point in one way or another, but at the same time, playing in an international where you're the only team that has to do this, I think there's at least some mental component there to be gotten past. So for them to kind of be able to warm up to that, I think is important.
There's also going to be how much like pre-screening every team gets to do. You get to see your opponents potentially later down the line play a lot of games, and some teams are going to have to show some stuff. Because I think where maybe there's one disadvantage for like the EG-G2 matchup is like you can't hide stuff where like maybe T1 or Royal don't like really have to bust out any like secret sauce, and they can just kind of play through without showing anything, and they don't have to expose themselves when they hit the later opponents after these warm-ups. They're not going to be busting out the trick character like the MFs or the Dariuses or...
Feels too early for it.
Right. But like where EG might have to do that to progress against G2, or at least win, unless you just don't care and just clap order. I don't know.
Well, and it's like, what are they going to be forced to do? Like, if your order, so say your order prepping for a game against EG, you ban 3 ADCs and see what happens?
Yeah.
Like,
and if that works, then you're kind of caught in 4K.
Like, is it ban 3 ADs and give Jojo LeBlanc and see what happens?
Mm-hmm.
Because I don't know about that, but like that's an option.
I think it'd be funny to see. I think it'd be really funny to see.
I mean, the problem is, and I think this, I have a feeling Eric might say this. Danny played more than 3 ADCs in playoffs in NA. Like, the jinx is notable, but I mean, the man clinched one of these series on Ezreal when no one's playing Ezreal. Like,
yeah, I don't think that's the strat. I think it's either engage support bans or jungle bans would be like what I'd actually try and do here. Maybe focus JoJo, but like that seems like a waste of time when he showed the Yasuo already. Just like I do jungle and support bans. Like that seems where the value's at. And then don't give them like outscaling components in 3 lanes like repeatedly. That also. Yeah.
Yeah, like we complained about how NA teams drafted against EG a lot, somewhat deservedly.
Yes.
But like, so your order coming in at a distinct disadvantage, and you've seen all these games, and probably had a lot of the same criticisms we do. So like, ban Jinx, ban Ornn, see what happens.
Yes, please. It's not the same patch, is it?
No, it's gonna be a later one, but I don't remember if there's anything substantial that's changed.
They try not to.
Meta. Yeah, there's like nothing super impactful for pro meta that I'm aware of.
Okay.
Well, and like with EG, it's one of those things where they showed comp diversity in the playoffs enough that like I'm not worried about them getting screwed in the draft, or particularly screwed by a patch. They've got enough different things. I mean, they played a Diana Yasuo comp. They've played all the meta stuff, tanks and not tanks. Like, if there's anything I'd be worried about, it's fully pushing impact off of tanks and onto a carry, because that might not work as well for them, but he's got enough experience that it's not going to matter.
Yeah, just play Aatrox, no problem. Highlight clips.
Or Gnar. Like, he broke out the Gnar in playoffs, and that's good enough.
Speaking of good enough, you can be good enough to go to the Funky store and get some merch. We got nostalgia T-shirts and other things. You should go there, thefunky.store, and like us on your social medias, the Funky Games. We're everywhere. We're doing stuff. So check that out. I did a plug without your permission. I'm sorry.
Plug away. Just like C9 has decided to plug roster holes by buying people off of the street who used to play for them.
I think you want to talk about that?
So Jensen, Steven, how do you feel about signing Jensen for a Summer 22 roster?
I think this is just like a brand. I don't know. Like, Eric can correct me, but is this just Jack doing Jack moves and just gathering himself people that like listen?
So how they, with the LS takeover at the beginning of this season, they kind of shorted themselves on certain key roles with the players they had available. And so I don't remember who their mid laner and academy is, but what I will say is that their odds of winning with Jensen are higher than who they had in academy. And so this to me smacks of a, how do we, as David called it, patch holes, where all of a sudden like our entire game plan has fallen apart here. And we had signed players either as part of this or as a package deal with LS, and now what do we do? I think it's fine. Team seems legit. Team mental is probably going to be a lot stronger. They were already good regular season. I'm wondering how their regular season performance is going to be. Maybe they do the 180 where they're good in playoffs now, but they're shit for like the first few weeks of regular season. It wouldn't surprise me.
And Sven is for sure moving to support, or is that rumor? Okay.
That's basically confirmed.
I would say I'm not sure the team is officially confirmed yet, but it's happening. People are checking the solo queue. People are seeing it out there, and like it makes some sense to some degree. Like, if I'm going to complain about something with that, it's the fact that they just hung out Isles out to dry really, really badly and unprofessionally. Because if you haven't seen the Twitter note from him, Isles has to sign with a team in 2 weeks or he gets deported. Because they dropped him outright instead of just holding him for trade.
So did they just cram Winsome down to Academy?
Yeah, they full released Summit and Isles, but Summit and Isles both. That's official as of today.
Yeah. I thought maybe wasn't Winsome like a legit like problem like ecosystem wise?
So there's been a lot of rumors about it, but I don't remember what the exact status of Winsome's contract is, but like they might decide to hold on to him. Okay, they did. Yeah, that makes sense. But like
they announced on Monday free agency for Summit, Winsome, and Isles.
Yeah, but he's a dual citizen, so Winsome isn't at the same level of risk from this in some ways. But yeah, dropping Isles out of nowhere, that one shocked me a bit. And I don't know if it's you gotta wonder with some of these decisions, like, are there any budgetary concerns? But like, you're signing Jensen out of like nowhere, but then you're not paying any contract fees for him, so it's super strange. Like, there's a lot of unknowns, and we'll never know. And so a lot of it's just going to be like, okay, well, he's building this team. These are all people he knows are going to try hard. A lot of them are second chance players who like were like on bench or like off teams this off season after being like MVPs or MVP candidates. So like, there's a lot of star power here suddenly out of nowhere. Got to see how it goes. I actually like this a lot for the teams they're going to be playing against. Get like West more experience against strong players. Get EG some players who might know how to move on the map past 15 minutes. Yeah, it'll be good, but it's strange.
Where does Summit go?
Do you think a North American team would pick him up?
So, well, Dig dropped Fake God. So there are rumors going about other NA teams picking Summit up, and that would not surprise me because he's here. It's not trivial to get back to LCK and get into a team again, because of the way, because like LCK teams have so much competition for every starting roster player. Like
yeah, you go down the LCK top laners and you get to like 7th or 8th in the table before there's a team that would even consider taking him on. Period.
Yeah.
Regardless of how good he was there.
So like I highly doubt that he's going back. He's probably going to be on another NA team here. Especially because C9 will want to get some kind of contract buyout money for him, hopefully. I'm guessing. But we'll see how it goes.
Well, and the other problem with Summit is Summit was getting paid a boatload of money to be here. That's been basically confirmed. Is that part of why he got released to C9, at least doing him a little bit of a solid, because no LCK teams are going to take on his salary. So, what kind of paydays does he want to settle for?
Yeah.
I mean, he's the reigning MVP and is a free agent.
He can solo win you games enough to get into playoffs.
Yep.
Seems pretty straightforward.
Official bounty hunter.
Open the wallet.
Yeah. Well, I get. Does Dig have the wallet to even do so?
Well, they're doing other roster moves, so it's kind of hit or miss. There's been a lot of conversation about like a lot of the lower table teams are making significant decisions with their rosters in the off season, or in this mid season, I should say.
Yeah, because they did like budget stuff at the beginning of the year anyway. So.
Well, or we're taking risks on newer players, and then and so now they're like pivoting a bit. I know that Immortals, like they've confirmed Ignar is starting for Immortals going into next split. They haven't confirmed the other rumors.
Reunion.
Yeah, PoE Ignar reunion. So like this is PoE plus Ignar plus Xerxes. That's one hell of an EU roster from 4 years ago, right there. So so Revenge is starting to look like he has a real team. We'll see how it plays out, because I think PoE might be burned out.
They also
that's what
they
the
also
season looks
signed
like.
Lost, didn't they?
That's the rumor, is that they've signed Lost, which would be nice, because like Arrow didn't look bad, but they could use a younger AD carry, and so it's interesting. Like I don't actually think AD is the problem with this team. I think it's that mid jungle felt off this past split. Hopefully having Ignar helps. And I just hope they figure it out. I'm not sure they'll look much better though. But like, with Lost moving, with these other things going on, like I think that some of these other teams are going to be making shakes. I don't think FlyQuest is. I think FlyQuest is pretty stable.
Note to ruin a little bit of your narrative, they dropped Xerxes.
Oh, they dropped Xerxes? Okay. All right, so they're going to have a new jungler then too.
Yep.
All right, yeah. Maybe they look better now, but like they felt pretty burned out last split, or just generally out of form. And part of it could be the fact that the top of the table teams were crushing best of ones, but
is it actually CLG Summit?
That seems very unlikely to me.
They don't have the money.
They don't have the money.
Yeah, they're on super budget mode this year.
Still, okay.
And they looked pretty good. So I don't know if I'd rock the boat, like. Stay
budget, develop the roster you've got, and see where it goes for a whole year.
You've got a borderline playoffs budget roster in LCS. You've got a pretty good academy team. Like, stay the course. Great moves.
If anything, rotate people in and out of academy. That's the only move you'd make for them.
Yeah, I agree. Like,
and what are the TSM rumors?
Oh yeah, speaking of mid laners, I asked Steven about Jensen in 2022. Eric, how do you feel about Maple in 2022?
That's the whole thing is so sus. Like I think he's good enough for NA. He was not good enough for LPL. That's kind of where I'm at. He was on anyone's Legend as like a fill-in player for a bit towards the beginning of this split and did okay in lane, but they were very bad. So like basically worst team in the league bad. And like worst team in the LP, like we talk a lot about how good the LPL is and like how good the top of the table LPL teams are, how like, you know, there's potentially 7 teams in the LPL that are better than any team in NA, things around those lines. But the bottom LPL teams are actual trash tier. Like you have to understand that. Like LGD and anyone's Legend are worse than any team in the LCS. So when Maple was on one of those teams, like you have to keep in mind that bad LPL teams are very bad. Yeah, like I don't know. I think it's better than whatever was going on with K2O. I mean the whole TSM situation is just so sus though. With like however they're building this roster, who's even coaching anymore, what's going on.
They did release their first NFT collection, which I know you're thrilled about.
Crypto.
Is that money also helping move Sword Art's car to back to China? Is that where that's going?
The joke that was made in the Maple signing thread on Reddit that I'm not sure if it was dumb NA fans or just super tongue in cheek is like, oh right, they signed Maple. When are they gonna sign Karsa? And I'm like, oh honey, I hope you're joking, because that's not gonna happen. I don't care how big your money is. He's playing for an international tournament winning team right now. He's gonna go play at MSI this week. He's not open to contract negotiations.
No, he's not. He's on V5.
Oh right, he's on V5.
Yeah, he should have been at MSI, but they had a couple of series, and so now he's not. But you know, but yeah, like he's on a team that would be a contender to win this tournament and is a world's finalist.
Is a world's finals contender, 100%.
So like he's not going to be coming to NA to play for TSM.
It's not gonna happen.
It's super strange too to me that like there's all this hubbub, you know, where they signed Kidwo and they signed Shenyi, and they did this like working largely with their coach, who now Reggie has said some very mean things about, which are partially true, and now there's been like the Richard Lewis articles about like how he was basically double dipping, and so and like this is the guy who was also involved with LMQ. And so now it's like, all right, so now he's basically out of the picture. So now you're gonna, without your talent scout funnel person, you're going to continue to import players from the same area. So it's like, do they have other scouts over there? Is that how they're working this? How did they get in touch with Maple? Like, what does this TSM network look like? And then who are they actually having coach? Or like, all very relevant questions that probably matter a lot more. I don't think TSM could sign anyone to this roster that would make me think they have a chance in looking like a decent team this split.
10th.
Now if they get Summit, they won't be 10th place. They'll win enough games to not be 10th, but they won't make playoffs.
Doesn't make any sense with them trying to go Mandarin. 10th.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll have more free agency news from various places. Eric, do you want to give us the quick scoop on the EU Masters All French Finals coming up this weekend?
So
or sometime.
So K-Corp managed to figure out how to play the game in games 3 through 5 of their series against Vitality B, and now are in the finals against LDLC, who was the tournament favorite and is still the tournament favorite and hasn't lost a game yet. So, and when I say hasn't lost a game yet, I mean they haven't lost a game yet in the whole tournament. Like, in the group stage, in 2 rounds of knockouts, they are undefeated. And they will continue to be undefeated because they have shown us what happens when they play K-Corp in the LFL. They look really good. So I'm expecting LDLC to win this. Like, watching K-Corp is really fun, though. I think K-Corp and Vitality are both fun League of Legends in different ways. K-Corp is fun League of Legends because Cabo looks like he's been writing it in for years now, but he still just wins games. So like they're fine with it. He's kind of got like Summit syndrome. So in one of the games in this finals, he played. They let Vitality lock Ornn. He played Scion into it and first itemed Hullbreaker and just sat in a side lane as Scion, suiciding and taking turrets, and they win this game. So like, it's my style of League of Legends, is what I'm saying.
He channeled you for that
I'm very in. Like, I'm all on board. I would love for K-Corp to, to play their style, which is let Cabo do his thing, and Seiken gets to have a pop-off Victor game where he does absurd damage, but like, LDLC look too good. I don't think that's happening. Yeah, it feels kind of rough that Rogue and X7 got paired against LDLC in the knockout stages, because those were the two teams that I thought could beat one of the French teams in a best of 5, and they got the hardest one. So like, it was kind of boring on the other side of the bracket. That's my update. There's a ton of good mid laners in EU Masters. Tons of good mid laners in EU Masters. So if you're not looking at signing Jensen back for another split, go look over there, because like, Seiken looks great. Ica looks like he's on serious form right now. Tempt looked really good to me. There's like a lot of good players there in mid lane that would be able to slot into a good roster.
There you have it. Almost the K-Corp, the K-Corp Vitality B semifinal that was today, I think, had almost 200,000 viewers on the French stream alone.
Bravo.
By the way, like, there's some serious people watching this in France, and like, you can see, the LFL is where the quality is at. 3 of the 4 semifinalists from the LFL, both finalists from the LFL, just really dominant in this setting. And it is being paid back in kind by the people from their country. So there you have it. So yeah, watch the when is that final? Is that tomorrow or is that this week?
Let me double check, because their schedule is kind of weird. It's Saturday.
Saturday. Okay, that's what I thought. So that very much worth your time to watch the EU Masters final, LDLC against K-Corp. Saturday. Probably Saturday morning or early afternoon in NA, I would guess. And then get your sleep schedule worked around so you can start watching MSI games starting at 2 in the morning early on Tuesday morning. So there you have it.
I might be able to do that. My youngest has been waking up consistently at 3:30, so I might be able to like.
Boy, yeah, I hope I can't relate to that next week, but we'll find out. Steven, what you been playing?
Well, we finished the Star Fox series. We played some Scott Pilgrim, and I'm restarting my quest to master as the season reset in Pokemon Unite. I blew through veteran class all the way to Ultra in a single sitting, so I might be good at Pokemon Unite. I might be retiring from League of Legends, so because I did play 3 matches of League, and did end up winning a majority of them as AD carry, so it's not completely dead, but I don't know, Pokemon Unite's a lot more fun to me right now.
Steven just doesn't want to pay for a new desktop computer.
No, Jesus Louise, I'm not paying for a new desktop. This
Steven's a Switch gamer now.
Yeah, I'm a big Switch gamer.
Unless you're playing on your phone. Are you playing on your phone,
No,
Steven?
God, no. I've seen, because now because I actually like did an ounce of research to try to get good at Unite, so I get served a lot of the live streams and stuff. A lot of the streamers are on mobile, and that kind of triggers me. I guess it's because it's easier there's a lower barrier to entry to stream from your phone onto Twitch or YouTube than getting a capture
Nintendo
card.
doesn't like to make stuff easy, that's for sure.
Well, they don't have the hardware in that thing. That thing ain't. That's not a PlayStation 4 Pro being able to stream right off. Like,
And whose choice was that? It was Nintendo.
The world's, because they have the best-selling Nintendo console of all time.
It's true. Eric, what you been playing?
Well, I had finished my playthrough on Tiny Tina's Wonderlands, which was fantastic. I played a few games of League. I've been just hitting that fill button, so I've been playing a lot of jungle. But like I've been playing Dunk Jarvan, and it's fantastic. Got an S+ earlier today.
Yeah.
After my strategy for getting an S+ on Jarvan is, as our friend in mid lane on Orianna loses a 1v1 duel, I'm just like waiting on the other side of a wall, so I go in and get the cleanup kill every time, and that's what snowballs me ahead of the curve.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Is it Dark Harvest or Electrocute?
Oh, Dark Harvest.
Yes, yeah. Excellent.
Yeah. Mainly because I leave it on my my ARAM page, and that's just how it works. So.
Well, you're also not a coward, so.
I've been playing Pokemon Go. That is what I've spent the most time on this last week.
Did you get your shinies?
My wife and son and I went out to raid night tonight at one of the parks in Des Moines, and we successfully defeated a few Mega Latiases and Mega Latioses and got some good catches and did some stuff. And it was good to get out for a walk. It was a very nice evening outside and play some Pokemon.
Yeah.
So that's probably the thing that I have played the most the past week. It's been pretty fun.
Yeah, I'm excited to get back out when my wife is less of a waddler and more of a walker. It'll be a lot easier to do some Pokemon Go stuff. So. She is very, very pregnant.
So, there you have it. All right. Anyway, check the channel, check the store. We will be back next week to talk about the first games of MSI. Woo-hoo!
Where EG drops 2 games to order.
Be impressive if that happens before we next record, because I think they only play order once before.
Okay. Double impressive.
Remix. Anyway, that's it. Check the socials, check the feed. We'll see y'all next time. Deuces.